Hey, how's it going? All right, so I've been teaching success with women now for 5 years, and I've been approaching random strangers now for 8. I've approached tens of thousands of girls, and I've taught thousands of students. Now, what is it that I can teach you about being attracted to women? Now, oftentimes people come to me asking me about what they have to say to get a girl into them. What do they have to do to get a girl into them? What is this external thing that I can display to the girl that's gonna get her into me? Now, oftentimes it's not about what you do, but the mindsets that it's coming from. It's the mindsets that are the thing that make you the most powerful and the most attractive to a woman. So today, what I'm gonna be doing is breaking down my 8 most powerful mindsets that I use to attract women, to get girls into me. All right, with that being said, let's get into the video.
Yeah, I confess, Father, I confess, 'cause I've been living wrong.
Now, the first mindset that I want you guys to take to heart is if you think it matters, it does matter. Now, in the same sense, if you think it doesn't matter, it won't matter. Now, oftentimes I have guys come to me where they worry about maybe some small little thing about their outfit. Maybe they worry about their beard being just on point. Maybe they think about their hair being spiked, or they think about wearing their clothes, make sure they're not wrinkled or anything like that. Now, like I said, if you think it matters, it matters. However, if you don't, it doesn't. Now, oftentimes people are afraid of offending people. They're afraid of not presenting the perfect self out to everybody. But in the end, if you think it matters and people see the insecurity in you, that's when people are going to attack you and be, oh, so he thinks this matters. You know what? Let's get him for it. Or let's say that you say something that is slightly something that only a confident person say, or maybe you approach a girl and then you approach her in a way that doesn't demonstrate you think it's okay to do. The girl's going to feed it back to you and she's going to be like, oh, this guy's trying to act through an incongruent character. He's trying to act like somebody that approaches girls confidently, but he's not that person. So I'm going to shame him for it because he's not the guy who's supposed to be doing this. So shame on you. However, if you just assumed it was okay, it would be okay. Which takes me to my next point. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about who you are or even thinks 5 seconds about you. You think somebody is looking at your wrinkled shirt and thinking, oh, look at this guy in his wrinkled shirt. Nobody gives a fuck about you. The way that people think is, look at that over there. What does that mean about me? What does what he's doing mean about me? What is happening currently in the club mean about me? Oh, everybody must be watching me because I'm the center of the universe. I focus on me, so everybody must be looking at me. Now, the truth is, nobody gives a fuck about you because they're too concerned with thinking about themselves. Now, this is actually a very powerful mindset. A lot of you guys are worried about what are people going to think about me when I go and approach a girl. They don't. Oftentimes they don't. If they do, let's say the occasional 1 in 10,000 guys has the balls to actually say something about you being creepy. To be honest, the fact he's saying you're creepy is him actually just trying to demonstrate to himself or somebody else around him that he is not creepy, that he is a socially intelligent human being, that he is somebody that is not bad with girls. By him saying that you're creepy, now he's good with girls, supposedly, in his narrative, in his head. Everything that people are saying about other people, oftentimes, especially when they come from a negative place, is about them. Now, if you guys want to learn more about this, I posted a video on my success channel. Go check it out. It's called To Be More Charismatic, You Have to Risk Being Offensive. I'll leave a link in the description below. Number 3, everyone is your best friend. This is the problem with everybody in today's society. We come from a society where it's cool to hate everybody, to hate people. You're walking around and you're just like, oh, I hate people because they're below me. Oh, I hate people because, whenever I talk to them, they're not as nice as I am. Now, this is the most asinine, narcissistic way you can possibly view the world. Or an even worse way of viewing the world, maybe you're going about your day and you assume everybody's thinking negatively about you. They're judging you in a negative way and they're all your enemies. It's very common for people to do this because we're very anxious creatures. As human beings, we're very anxious and we have a very big ego towards the tribe. We want to be loved by our tribe and by our fellow man. It is just built into us biologically. And if you're not loved by your tribe, you're pretty much dead, at least to your archaic brain. Because back in the day, if you got rejected from your tribe, you're separate, you're by yourself, you're 110% dead. There's no way you're going to survive by yourself. So you being afraid of pissing off your tribe was a very obvious trait that we had to adopt. But nowadays, people don't like you. Are you going to die? No. There's really no consequence of people not liking you. However, it is a very weak mindset to assume that people don't like you. It is extremely weak. The more powerful mindset is that everybody loves me, everybody's my best friend. Now, when you go into social situations, like when you go to a club, when you go to the mall, when you go to a bar, when you go to a scene where you expect to be very outgoing and meet strangers, if you assume negatively about people before you even talk to them, it will subcommunicate it to it in the way that you're acting, and you'll act in a very timid way or maybe a very passive-aggressive way, and in which case the guys will definitely not like you. However, if you assume they are your friends, you're gonna start subcommunicating that you already assume they're your friend. You're gonna be more friendly. You're gonna be more assumptive that they're gonna be that way with you, and then people will fall into your frame. This is the best way that I found to make friends, is actually already assume they're already my friend. Now, I'm gonna take this a little bit further. Now, when you approach a girl, do you assume the girl's gonna like you? Do you assume the girl that you approach is gonna be really into you? Or are you assuming that she's gonna reject you? Are you actually anticipating negatively that she's gonna reject you? Now, which one are you? And think very critically about which one's a lot more powerful. Because one is way more a winning strategy than the other one is. Think it through. I'm pretty sure it's obvious. And another thing around the subject, if people are looking at you, what are they thinking about you? Are they thinking negatively? Are they looking at you to judge you in a negative way to take you down? Or are they watching you because they think you're so cool? Are they watching you because they want to take little tidbits from you and add it to their own personality? Now, the second one is a lot more powerful and a lot better for you because you won't be so in your head. You see people like you, you'll be more positive, be more upbeat, you'll be a lot more excited, you'll get in the zone a lot faster. You'll get into what's called state a lot quicker. Now, if you're not in the pickup community, this essentially just means that you get into a free-flowing conversational state where you become the outgoing extrovert. This is called state. Now, this is the biggest issue that I find among the community. It's the frat boy / scientist dichotomy. Now, what am I talking about when I say this? Now, when you guys go out, you guys think way too fucking much. You think about irrelevant things that do not affect you in the slightest, or you think about too much bullshit. You think about way too much stuff and you put yourself to a standard that you can't even like hold yourself. You're like, if I don't approach every girl and every girl doesn't like me, then I suck at this and I'm beat myself up and be hard on myself. Or maybe you're like, I gotta do these 10 things that I've only ever seen a video and never actually performed out talking to girls. I gotta do all 10 of these things. No. All right, now what this does is, if you're gonna be doing this kind of stuff, is it's gonna make you very rigid as a person because you're gonna approach a girl. Even if it goes well, you're gonna beat yourself up because maybe you missed like 10 out of 10 things, because if you're trying to practice 10 things, you're very unlikely to even get one of those things in place. So you approach, then you're thinking about all these 10 things. You can't be authentic with the girl because you're trying to do all these 10 things and you don't even practice them to a point where they're habitual and they're a part of you. And now you look very robotic, the girl rejects you, and you're already beating yourself up because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And as it goes down, your emotions start dropping, you start getting more negative, which means that you do even worse with the girls. And then you beat yourself up even more, and then you're in a downward spiral and your entire night's fucked. Now the better way of being is turn your brain off. Turn it off and have maybe 1 or 2 things you're working on that night, nothing else. So maybe you're working on eye contact, maybe you're working on your ability to be dominant, maybe you're working on your ability to have a lot of fun and carefree. Now, work on at most 2 things. 1 thing is totally fine as well, but for the most part, game, you want to make it habitual. You want to practice something to the point where it's natural. Like most of the time when I go out, I don't think about a lot. A lot of these things that I do nowadays are just on autopilot. Like I just know to like slide in it just this time. I know how to pace my canter to get a girl to stop. And it only happened because I went out a lot and I practiced things individually and I broke them down individually. Where can you think critically? Because at some point you have to think critically, right? You think critically when you leave the club, when you go home, when you leave the mall, when you stop being outgoing, when you're by yourself. That's when you sit down and guess what you do? You write notes. You write notes and you try to break down how would your 10 out of 10 self have handled today differently than you did. Now you're a scientist. Now you can think critically. But when you're out and about, you're focusing on fun, happiness, that one thing, and that's it. All right, turn your brain the fuck off, all right? Anything else outside of this is not helping you out. Now, this actually takes me to my next point. The area you're interacting with, the area that you're approaching strangers in, is the only area that fucking exists. There's nothing else outside of this area that exists. So let's say you're in a club. Nothing outside those walls exists. If you're in a mall, nothing outside those walls exists. None of your worries, not your worry about money, about being single forever, nothing. The worries are gone. All right, now from here, the area you're playing in is your playground. It's a video game, it's not real. Now, by having this mindset, you can do whatever the fuck you want, you can practice, and you can do things that in your head will not affect you in a negative way. Now, like I was saying before, if you're worrying, if you're stressed, it's bad for game. So the best way to deal with this is to completely almost get meditative and assume the outside world doesn't exist anymore. This is a virtual reality video game. And from here, you can approach and be a little bit crazier than you would usually. And you can experiment with yourself and see what works and what doesn't. Now, from this mindset, you can be a lot more powerful and viable, and you'll actually have a quicker learning curve than other people would, because they are too They're trying to mitigate their interactions and they're trying to make everything perfect. However, you're willing to like throw things at the wall to see if they'll stick. This is a different mindset, and this mindset alone will cut your learning curve down by years if you actually follow through with it. All right, and now the next one. The self is always coming through. Whatever you actually feel about yourself, whatever you actually feel about other people, whatever you actually feel towards maybe attraction towards a girl or anything of the sort will always be coming through. There'll be times where I'll approach a girl just to keep myself momentum, and I'll approach her, but I don't think she's really attractive, but I'll say she's attractive, and you can see that she can tell that I don't actually think she's attractive. And then because of that, she'll actually reject me. However, I just approached her and I was honest and I told her, hey, I honestly just want to talk to you because I want to keep social. What's your name? And the girl's like, okay. And you're making a friend now. Now, the self is always coming through. If you're actually going to do something, make sure that actually is following the point. So if you approach a girl who thinks she's cute, feel the excitement in your body. Feel the draw towards her. Like really try to feel in your body, because if you're going to say she's cute, you want it in your body, because this will up your chances of the interaction going well. This will create authenticity, like true authenticity. Like where it's almost like method acting in a way. Like I used to sit in my car every day and practice the perfect opener, and I knew that it was down to the tonality. So I'd be like, hey, I thought you were super cute and I want to talk to you. What's your name? Like, do you see how like I'm kind of pulling up that excitement? Now the next time it's going to be even more. It's going to be like, hey, all right, I thought you were super cute and I want to talk to you. What's your name? Now you see how it's getting better every time? Method acted. Now, the more that I have the emotions behind it, the more powerful the tone and what I'm saying is. If you actually like a guy that's in your set, he's gonna actually be more likely to be your friend because you legitimately like him. I used to like sit with myself, and when I used to sell on the strip over here and I used to sell different stuff, I would approach people and in my head, I'd come up with one like overarching kind of mindset around them. Like if I saw an older lady and I'd approach her, in my head I'd be like, she's probably a great mother. If I saw somebody that was like maybe like kind of looks like a hick or a redneck, I'd be like, he's probably a very loyal friend. And I approach them these kind of ways with these mindsets, these positive mindsets about them, and they would come through. In the same way, I want you guys to do this with your interactions out and about. Make it to where you can kind of almost feel it. Like if you're gonna say something, really feel it. If you're saying something from an inauthentic place, it will always come through and people will kind of see through it. They won't be able to explain what they're feeling, but to them, it'll just kind of feel like an icky, gross feeling. It'll be like creepy. This is not the emotion or thing that you want. You want it to be authentic and coming from the true self, always. Other people's emotions are not your problem. Now, this is something that I oftentimes see guys do extremely piss poorly. Now, what is it? Whenever a girl gets really sad or angry, what do most guys do? They try to empathize or sympathize with them. Now, why is this bad? Because for the most part, if somebody's feeling a negative emotions have a level of addiction to them. So if you're empathizing with them, if you're sympathizing with them, you're giving them their positive feedback loop for being in that emotion. If you want to interact with a girl in a good way, if you want to make her feel better, you don't do it by empathizing or sympathizing with her. You do it by feeling good yourself, by feeling in a positive, happy state. And then from there, if she's an intelligent human being, she'll start reciprocating the emotion and start feeling better herself. Now, for example, I was out last week with this girl. Now, her friend pulled her into the fountain, got her phone drenched. She was soaking wet. She was pissed. She told her friend to fuck off, and we were just walking by ourselves. She was the entire night just like, fuck this, fuck that, blah, 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 blah. And what did I do? I ignored it, and instead I made another joke about it. And eventually within maybe 15 minutes, she's now feeling really positive. She forgot she even fell in the fountain. If I instead had stayed in that energy, stayed down with her, she would have pulled me down to her energy, and then I would have felt it. Now, what is it when you guys go to a club with your friends? You guys are probably worrying about what your friends are thinking. You guys are probably feeling really happy, but then you feel really bad your friends are not in the zone yet or feeling in a good state. So what do? You start trying to bring them up. Instead, view it this way. Demonstrate by example that you're in the zone, and then from there, assume they're gonna rise to your level, because this is the best way of getting your friends into your zone too and feeling in a great headspace. The problem with most guys is that they'll be focusing on their friends and trying to bring all their friends up, when in all actuality, if they just bring themselves up, everybody else will rise up with them. So do it for yourself and be a demonstration for others. Demonstrate positive emotions and this good energy. If somebody gives you a bad reaction off the approach, if somebody like doesn't like you, if somebody is just a really piss poor person, if you're in heavy traffic, somebody flips you off, don't feed into that emotion. That person is very bad at controlling their own emotions. He needs to learn how to do that. However, you know better. You know you can control your emotions. So when somebody flips you off, you're like, okay, you don't give a fuck. Now, the power in this is that other people's emotions don't affect you. And this is extremely fucking alpha. And I think it's the biggest thing that a lot of men lack nowadays. What do most men think that being alpha is? They think it's about dominating, being angry. This is not the emotion of somebody that's an alpha. The emotion of an alpha is somebody that's extremely fucking positive. On occasion, maybe he does have to put people back in check. However, for the most part, his underlying emotions are nothing but positive because he has such a great life and ecosystem built around himself. This is an alpha, where nobody else outside of this little ecosystem, these people that are addicted to their emotions, affect them. This guy's flipping you off. He's addicted to his anger. You're not gonna let yourself get affected though. You don't care. You're like, okay man, have a good day. And you just go back to your day. You don't even care. There was 0% tilt in your emotional headspace. Other people's emotions are their fault. The best you can do is control your own internal ecosystem and assume the others outside of you, if they're smart and they're not too addicted to their own emotions, that they'll come in and build into the energy you have and build up your own energy. If you guys want to get those real stunners, this is how you do it. You don't become reactive. You come to the point where you're so in your own headspace, where you're in such a great mood that people come to you and you become the party. All right, with that being said, peace out.
Yeah, look at my life, I wish they could study me. The word fan means looking familiar. Know what my own people done to me. Lie my name, put thoughts in my brain. They ain't really had no left for me. Tell the truth, now I wasn't ashamed, but I couldn't let them get under me. Fuck them, it don't get no better. I hold my grudges forever. Hatred so long you can measure. My blessings take longer than others. I'm trying to change.